Hey guys, how's it going? Uh, Before you guys say anything, I just want to apologize for the fact that it's been really long time since I've followed up on the first part of this video. Um, um, when I made the first part, I was in a industrial placement. So in UK, it's called a sandwich program, where you do first few years at university, then you go and work for a employer, and then you finish your final year. So the industrial placement is usually 1 year long, and mine was a bit more than 1 year. But yeah, it was a really busy time at that time, and I recorded the video a while ago, and then I posted it. And I thought I would be able to spare some time, and then follow up on that video, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. It became increasingly busy at work, and then after work I immediately joined university back into my third year, and that was also really busy time for me because it was a very crucial year, and I had to get good grades, all that stuff. And after university, it was trying to find a job, trying to get a good position. So I started as soon as I had submitted my results. I just kept on applying to places and stuff, and finally got through, and I had a job before I graduated, actually, for which I'm quite pleased. Yeah, so I do realise that it has been a very long time. It's almost 3 years, I think. So I do apologise again. Not 3 years, actually. Like a year or something. Yeah, maybe. Yes. Yeah, so I do apologise for that fact. Right, so if you guys are happy, let's move on to this video. This is the part 2 where we actually talk about the functioning of the application. Now, there are a few changes that we'll have to make in the UI in order to accommodate the features. First of all, we won't be needing the connect or disconnect button because the kind of the system design that I've figured out wouldn't need that. I'll talk you guys through it in a moment. So let's just put down stuff that we will need, and let's talk about the actual system design of the underlying system. So not the GUI, the design of the underlying system. How will the underlying system function? So let's just open Notepad, and we just position that there. Right, so just move that a bit down there. So what we need is certain things from our system. The system should be able to send a message, so send a message, and it should be able to receive a message, obviously. Receive a message. Nope. Yeah. Now, to send a message, you need a... So in Java, you would have a socket, and you would connect that socket onto a port of the remote machine. So you need socket. You need to know what the port of the target machine is. So target port. Oh, port. Yeah. And to send a message, yeah. This will be a atomic transaction. So by atomic transaction, what I really mean is it will happen instantly, and it will then be forgotten about. The typical flow of this transaction would be connect, send data, disconnect. That's it. We could keep a persistent connection, but for the purpose of this video, it will just be connect, send data, disconnect, because we want to be really sneaky in terms of sending data. We don't want to hold up a connection. So that's about sending a message. How about receiving a message? So in order to receive a message, what you really need to do is you need to have a service set up. So we need to have the server. In Java, it's specifically called server socket. You need a receiving port. You need a port that's not busy, that's not being used by the operating system or any other program running on the operating system at that time. So you need a receiving port, and now this won't be an atomic transaction. What we'll what we will do here is we will have a thread, thread to listen on the receiving port. So we will listen on this port for any incoming connections or incoming messages, and as soon as we get one, we'll take all of the data, we'll show that to the client, and yeah, that's essentially it. We don't need to worry about who's sending the data right now, because this app is going to focus on just trying to send data across from one chat application to another. We also won't be worrying about security stuff. We can take care at a later date. Maybe we'll come back to this and then we'll sort of do something about that. I'm actually really keen on that, to be honest, to come back to this and then sort of thing. So we'll see as we go along. So yeah, basically that's it. Let's get cracking. So what we'll do is we'll first work on the receive message bit. So we need a receiving port, and here in our GUI there's no UI element that can provide us with a receiving port. Now you can say that, the user doesn't need to know about this, we can just have it internal, we can be really sneaky. Well, we can, but what we want to do for this application is we want to make it easy for us to check and debug stuff. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of the connect and disconnect buttons because we don't need them anymore. We'll send this to right because that's the target port. We'll move the address bar here, and we don't need it to be this long because this is absurdly long address bar. We'll drag the OK button to right, and we'll have a text field here which will be the receiving port, and we'll make this thing absurdly large again, and we'll rename that to something like receive port. We'll change not here, sorry, properties. We'll change in the text, just a random number 8877, whatever. Don't name it to 8080. You may have a server running. Just name it to something random that wouldn't pop up in your mind usually, So yeah, so that's your receiving port. Yeah, I think that's it for that. Oh, it's a bit tiny. Just make that a bit larger, maybe. And that's our button for listening. So listen. Code variable name would be listen button. It doesn't really matter, but I like to keep things neat and clean. IP text field, port text field, we'll change that to something like target port. Yep, so that's basically our chat area, and this is gonna be our message. It doesn't, yeah, and send button and stuff. Right, so let's work on the actual back end then. I'll just take you to the back end. Let's go. So receive a message, we've got that working. We have this done. So done, yay. We'll be working on this bit now, and that includes this bit. So what we really need is we need something that runs not on the GUI thread, but it runs on its own separate thread. And if you look at my thread video, you'll know what a thread is and how it works and stuff. So I'm going to skip on that. I'm just going to go ahead and write the code for the thread and stuff. So create a new package to be neat and clean and stuff. Chat out with 3 Ps, .network, networking stuff, new job class, message, listener class. And what we'll do is we'll make this class extend the thread class just for the ease of use. Thread. So we need a server socket. Server. We need port. Oh god, imports. We need port number. Port, so just port. And we need some way to store this information in the object, and we also need some way to pass information to this object. The best way I can think of is the class constructor. So let's just go public message listener. So we need the port number. So int port. And we need one more thing, which is just have an empty class constructor. I usually have this for applications, because I've had conflicts before with different JDKs and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anyone have this problem, but I've had this, so I'm just being cautious. Yeah, so and we need to override the run method, which is run method. There we go. So we need to override this method so that we can put our code to listen here. In the port, we'll just do this dot port equals port, and we'll do server equals new server socket port. And that's gonna, yep, so statement with that. And in message listener, what we'll actually do is we'll default the port to 8877, and in here we'll just do server equal new port, and that's gonna ask for that. Statement with this, that's done. Yep, happy. Cool, that looks good. So we've initialized the server bit and the port bit. In the run method, what we'll really do is we'll just have a socket, client socket. So that's going to be the other chat application trying to connect to it, and we'll just have while. Oops. Client socket equals server.accept, not equal to null, and that's going to need the try-catch stuff. So the try-catch stuff is here, and yeah. So now I'm just going to explain to you what just happened there, because you'll be like, oh my god, where's this guy going? Right. So what we really did is we initialized a variable called client socket of type socket. A socket is just like a connection to a port. Yeah. Then we have this try catch statement stuff, which just catches the IO exception. Within the try bit, we have a while loop, which keeps on accepting connections from the server. When it gets a connection, it stores it into the client socket, and then we can use the client socket here. If the connection that it gets is null, which is if the port's been closed or something's happened, then we'll get out of the while loop. Until then, it will keep on accepting connections, so it can keep on accepting infinite connections, as long as they're not null. Yeah, so now we can use the client socket here. We'll just do, what we'll do is we need to take the input stuff from client socket, and we need to store that into the GUI. Now, here's the clever bit. The GUI is inside main screen, right? Now, we want to decouple the message listener and the GUI. Why, you may ask? Because if in future, if I decide that I don't like this chat of being JText stereotype, and if I write my own GUI class, which will have a list view and it will have shiny avatars and name and points and ranks and stuff, and then I can have a beautiful message here with pictures and stuff. Then that will mean I'll have to change my whole listener code. I will have to change the listener code in that case regardless, but this is just an example. If you change this, then you will have to change this. So what we'll do here is we'll introduce an interface. Interface is one of the things about object orientation, so we'll introduce an interface. New Java interface here. We'll call this Writable UI, which essentially means that if a GUI is of this type, then it should support the following methods, which are void write string s. Yeah. if you guys have any questions, go back to the object orientation tutorials I have, and they will provide you with information about interfaces and stuff. But essentially, we're defining a type here, writable GUI, and we're saying that whatever implements this type will have to support this write method. In this case, we'll make the main screen implement this, so implements writable GUI, and we'll just do and it's complaining about the abstract methods, implement all abstract methods, and at this point you might be like, where are my methods? Well, they're right at the bottom. So get rid of that, and in the write method we can here do chat.write append s plus a new line, so system.line separator. Yep, so that's so what that's doing is whenever the write method is called and a string is passed, it will append that string plus a new line to the chat being the chat text area here. Yeah, clear? Cool. Let's save this, and let's go back to message listener, and in here we're going to have to change the code a little bit. We're going to have to introduce a new global variable called writable GUI, and in here we're going to have to say GUI, and we can just say let's stop GUI. Yep, cool. So yeah, let's just right here, let's get the string from the socket. So now that the server has accepted a connection, and that connection has been stored into the client socket, and that connection is not null, we can use that connection here and take the data from that connection. The data will be in input stream. So input stream is equals client socket dot get input stream. This essentially gets the whole input stream. Input stream is in binary-ish type, so we'll get that. Fix the import, and from the input stream we need the actual data, which will be so we want to convert that data to string and then show that string to the user. So what we'll do here is we'll have a buffered reader for efficiency and non-niceness. br equals new buffered reader, and this if you have a look at this control after the import stuff is sorted out, it takes a reader. Now for input stream, luckily Java provides input stream reader, which is, so we're just going to define new input reader, and we'll provide is to it. So don't worry too much about how does input stream reader convert input stream into readable format and stuff, but essentially what we're doing here is we're getting the input stream from the client socket, from the connection that has been established, and we're storing it into input stream. This input stream is being given to the input stream reader, and that is being given to buffered reader, which converts that to string and does its own efficiency bit, optimizes the input stuff. And now we're going to use the buffered reader here to convert to get a line of data. So string line equals br.read line, and we're going to check here if line not equal to null. Then we're going to do GUI.write line. Do you see what I just did? I did GUI.write, and if you have this code, if you just press Control Space there, all you get is this. You don't get access to any of the chat methods or anything. You just get access to GUI, and because we know that anything that implements writable GUI will have to have the write method, we can, without fear, we can call the write method and pass whatever value we want, while having faith in ourselves that whatever implements this will provide a nice implementation and will do whatever it's supposed to do. And we have done that here. We are nice people after all. So we have gotten the implements writable GUI stuff here, and we have the right string line separator and all that kind of stuff. So we've handled the right method nicely without this code worrying about, oh, how am I going to get this string and stuff, and without this code worrying about, oh, how am I going to, without this code worrying about, oh, how am I going to show this to a GUI. So we have successfully decoupled the two things very nicely. So yeah, well done. With that done, and with the writable GUI stuff done, I shall end this video now. In our next video, we'll be talking about how to transmit a message and all of that stuff. So yeah, so hang on guys, thank you very much for your support. I've received a lot of YouTube internal messages from you guys about the video stuff and all. I've got a lot of positive response, so, and that has encouraged me to continue with the stuff. So thank you very much for your support once more. I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye.